My name is Elenja and my husband is Selomja here. We've been married for 16 years. We met in school and God has been so good. We have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl.
I'm Daniel and this is my wife.
Hello, my name is Tony. Nice to meet you all.
So we've been married for 5 years and we have 2 children. You are Dromo and you are not. God's grace and God's own.
So my name is Anthony Leddy.
We've been married for 48 years. We have 3 grown kids, adult kids, with 8 grandchildren.
I am George Nikwe and this is my wife.
Delasi Nikwe.
Yeah, and we've been married for 11 months now.
For me, it's cooking.
You do cooking.
I don't like it.
Okay, so I don't do it now. I do washing, but I use washing machine. So I think now I'm somehow sorted. That would have been what I would say, that the washing, because it takes so much time, yeah.
I said the one chore I would definitely take out is dishwashing, or getting a dishwasher sometime soon. Yeah.
For me, I don't do a lot of house chores, I don't know, but we've managed to come this far. But yeah, so there's a thing. I mean, well, for our family, I do ironing, and I think I love the ironing. So ironing here, clothes, the children's clothes, my clothes. Yes, so I don't think I'll take that out. Apart from that, I don't think I do a lot more, but yeah.
I know my wife's love language to be service, that of service. Yeah, that's one language I know of her, service.
Is that true?
Very true. I need help more than anything. I think he wants acts of kindness. Yeah, doing things out of the way for him, surprising him, it speaks a lot to him, yeah.
That's one area of love languages is one area we are not too huge on.
Let me tell you one thing that is unique or that is strange about that. He hates chocolates. Something that most women will crave for. He doesn't like chocolate. All right, and I don't think we have talked about love language and stuff like that.
But for one thing, I know he likes gifts. He likes gifts a lot, and
I appreciate gifts. Wow.
Yeah,
She doesn't like surprises.
I don't like surprises.
She hates surprises.
No, don't do it to me.
So I can tell you things that...
Yeah, but love language is something we really have not paid attention
No,
for.
not really.
Yeah,
not really. Yes.
It's there are a lot of things that...
And so it's attention, yeah. And then physical touch.
I think at the start, act of service. But I think I've gotten into the routine of doing those things.
I think we can add the safe one, Momo. I'll say yes.
Yeah, act of service. So that I think because I've also gotten into the routine of
doing a lot of things at home. But for her, I know it's attention. If we don't give her attention and mind her, you have to do some cleaning up.
A love language is giftings.
Is that true, Delasi?
yes, very true.
Yeah. And touch. I'm forcing touch on it.
Well, no, but it very much is. At the beginning is because of, purity and courting. That's why I had to suppress that aspect. I know, it's just gifts, but truly, physical touch was a part of it. His love language is physical touch.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. So, true and true.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't care about gifts.
At all. Nowadays, even in what I would call purity culture, there is the trend of really focusing on your ability to not do something sexual, your ability to not have sex. Oh, I've been celibate for this amount of years, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. But purity is really about worship to God. It's really not about you and your spouse Purity is way bigger than even sex. It's a posture of worship to God. It's a sacrifice you do unto God. And so when you begin to understand it from that perspective, that it's something you're doing unto God and not unto man, you begin to rely on him for grace. A lot of people don't believe, I mean, we didn't have sex before marriage. We got married and then we had sex, and so lots of people are like, how did you do that? It's so impossible. But it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was easy. It wasn't easy, but it was me literally relying on God every day for grace, and also what you consume around you, garbage in, garbage out. So what you take inside of you manifests. Right, that's what you crave for more. So if you're always watching things that are very sexual, they're going to pop up in your brain a lot more. You might see somebody be like, oh, that's really nice, and then your brain will just start traveling very quickly. Or if you listen to a lot of sensual songs, just expect that these things will become more of temptations for you than if you try to. So for us, for example, what we did was, like, we wouldn't meet each other alone in the dark, or we wouldn't be somewhere alone in the house, because body no be firewood. As you see me like this, I'm a nice girl. As you see him like this, he's a nice guy, and the Holy Spirit cannot come and hold our hands if we decide to do something. And so a big part of it is applying wisdom, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, knowing that if I'm ovulating, I'm most likely going to want to do something. And so I'm not going to see him or go over to his house when I'm ovulating, or we wouldn't watch a movie together in the night, or I wouldn't sleep over. Many of the ladies that ask me how I did it, you know, you would, I don't know how to put it, but the Bible says that why would you put your hand in fire and expect it not to burn? So it says flee. You can't sit close and say, okay, I won't be a part of sexual immorality, or I would just hang around it, but I wouldn't really do it. You have to flee. It's the only thing in the Bible that God is saying flee from, because he knows how strong it is and how much our passion burns for each other. And so the advice that I would give to those watching is, you have to flee. You have to make certain decisions that, okay, the first thing is to have somebody, a partner who is on that same journey with you, because you don't want to be abstaining from something and having to fight over that same thing with your partner. It's going to be even more difficult. So the first thing I would say is to get somebody who also wants to go on that journey with you, and to have that discussion. Do not assume that the person is a Christian and so, oh, he's not going to want to have it. There are so many types of Christians these days. So always have that conversation on, what do you think about sex before marriage? And then from there, you should both make an agreement to yourself that, okay, fine, we're not going to do this. The truth is that if you're both on the same page, there are days where you might feel like slipping up, but he would hold you accountable. And there are days where he might feel like slipping up, and I will hold him accountable. So that's why you really need somebody, because somebody else might just be waiting for the day that you feel a bit a bit loose and take advantage. So you have to really, really have somebody who's on the same page and ask for grace. You can't do this alone. It's not something you're doing to get a badge. It's not to have a pat on your shoulder. It's something you're doing unto God. So always ask God for grace to do it, and give him all the glory if you are successful. And if you do fall, which can very much happen, it's all about going back to God. Don't think that that's the end of the road. Oh, once we've done it, then we might as well just
let's continue.
you might as well know there's grace, and God is always willing to forgive. Grace is not abounding so that you can stay in sin. And so that's my advice to couples that are...
And to speak on the popularity or the number of people that are doing it, which seems normal, what encourages me is that the way to life is narrow and the way to distraction is wide. So I reflect on, okay, everybody's doing it. Yeah, it doesn't mean, okay, then let's go because everybody's doing it. Because the Bible clearly says that his ways are difficult, which is true, and we need the grace of God to overcome those difficulties. So that is one thing that also helps me not just looked at what people are doing, and sometimes I find it hard to believe that it's popular. I just feel like maybe the Christians are not talking. Like Christians should come out. Like
No,
what,
what do you mean Christians are doing?
like what you are doing now. Like you are quote unquote putting out Christian
It is
couples
popular. It
out
is
there.
popular, George.
Hey,
It is.
I feel like we are quiet though.
What they're doing, even the Christians, everybody's doing it.
Because in the world population, they say Christian is the largest population. But why? Anyway, this is just it's just me. So yeah.
Right.
I think it's on the basis of truth. A lot of the world is living in a deceptive nature whereby people are hiding things. So I've seen stories of men that when they get married, then they're asking those social media pages, so I've gotten married to my wife, should I tell her I'm impotent? It's a culture of deception. If we are working according to the biblical standards in reality and working according to what God expects us, these things should be spoken about. Because we've also heard of, like I said, there's a lot of bad news, but there's a lot of good news. We've heard of stories of God performing miracles and people that didn't have wombs, or people that were considered not to be able to give birth to children, giving birth to children. I think once a couple are truthful with each other and can prayerfully take things to God, the insecurities and fears would definitely go. But then as long as deception is there, deception basically gives the enemy an entrance into the home, which is why I was saying that. So the things people fear come into reality, and it's because of this notion or aura of deception. There are even these funny stories of women that they have makeup every day of their life, and then on the wedding day, when they wash off, the husband is like, what is this? If from the start you had told your husband that this is how I am, I don't think when he sees you after, it will be shocked, right? It's those little things, but then people pile it up into big issues, and then they keep it secret. You have had an abortion before, but you decide to keep it secret from your husband until you start bearing children. If you are being truthful to yourselves and being truthful according to the way God expects us to be truthful, I think those things, they may cause strife, but then I don't think it is strife that cannot be managed. Yeah.
So trying things out, I think it's become a common term, but I think it's actually really a scary term. Because some people would use the analogy, before I buy a car, yes, I definitely test drive. But this is not test driving a human being, and a lot of things become complicated when human beings are involved. One of the things that humans, I'll say humans, right, haven't been able to manage well is relationships. And because relationships are complicated, I think having a period or a space testing things out in terms of sex, testing things out in terms of whether are you faithful, so these little tests, all of these things, financial tests, moving in, are we compatible, can we stay in the same place? I think it's further complicates things. That's what I think. Now I know that some people would give quite a logical logical reasoning why it makes sense for a couple to, and yes, all of this I think we've mentioned this already. It's founded on fear, but I think there is more that having faith in God, having faith in the other person can do that fear can't do. And I think yes, sometimes you just need to have a little more faith and just trust that things will work out.